Thanks everybody for coming out. Really appreciate the support. I got involved during the COVID. I didn't really agree with the way they shut the schools down, and that was bad enough. And then the teachers union didn't even want to go back to school when they opened the doors back up statewide. And to me, that's a problem. That loss of learning for the kids is irreplaceable. And the more we find out about what actually COVID was about, I think I was on the right track there. And then it rolled into the masking, forcing kids to wear masks to go to school, and that really kind of got to me. Being a parent, it's like we never wore masks, and we weren't about to start wearing masks to go to school. So it's about parental rights, and we should all have a right when our kids go to school. They're not owned by the school; they're owned by the parents. The parents are the number one provider, and they're our kids. And I think the school system has it mixed up where they think they're their kids, and with the indoctrination going on with the gender and everything else, they go to school and they affirm that behavior with their Pride Month stuff and this and that. And I just think, I wish they would push God as much as they push pride. Then we'd probably see significant change. But I started going to all the board meetings, delved in, and it just seemed like our voices aren't heard. They just chug along and do what they do, and it's all pushed down by the state and federal levels, and they're just part of the machine. And I thought schools should be more community-based and about the community, and we've lost a lot of that. A lot of people aren't involved. I wish more people would be involved on a week-by-week basis. It's busy, everybody's busy, but I'm running because I want to protect the kids from the school ideologies, and I think we need to focus on education is the main thing. The kids, our test scores are not that good. We're overstaffed. We're like 400 people over the allotted amount by the state, so all our property taxes go to more teachers instead of going directly to the kids. The problem is the school thinks by employing more teachers, that's going to the kids, but the results aren't showing that. So there's got to be new ideas, different ideas, whether it's curriculum or, less administration, more hands-on, quit pushing the kids through each grade until they learn the material. So I'm looking to get in there and make some changes and make SK Schools a better place. The bond is okay. So I got involved with the district, and it's all the people that are on the board now have all been pushed by all these same people that have been pushing the bond for years and years and years. Of course, we all know it was the second high school. We have to have a second high school, dire need for, the last 20 years. That's been the big go-to. Well, they ended up scrapping that idea, and the way it's really shady the way it all works. So you got the same people that have been pushing the high school bond for the last 20 years, headed up by Lee Fenton, who's also a big player in the new bond. And there's actually, after the last bond for the high school failed, there's an article in the Bremerton Sun of him talking about how we need to scrap that idea, we need to rebuild Cedar Heights, we need to rebuild Olalla, pretty much the plan they have now. He laid it out. This is pre-facilities committee. They put together this community committee sponsored by the board, which is nothing but insiders that have been pushing the bond for years. And I tried to get on it twice. They shut me out of the whole deal, voted me down to the point where the last time I applied to be on the facilities committee, they ended up tabling the whole committee because they had like 5 people that wanted to get on, and they didn't want any actual community members on their little committee. So it's pretty much they had the plan laid out. So to make it look like it's just kind of a grassroots idea, they fill the facilities committee with all their people, come up with the exact plan that was already laid out, and then they have the whole board is all elected with their backing to push the whole thing through. So in my opinion, it's a big farce. The whole way they've gone about it, and it's not the best plan that we could have. It's not gonna do anything for education. Of course, we want new schools. South Colby and Olalla have the lowest enrollment in the district and have lost the most students in the last year, and they want to build big brand new schools. Makes no sense. Cedar Heights could use some work. There's other projects around the community that they could use some work, but I think we should run some smaller capital levies and go one at a time instead of a big, huge ask. It's a $271 million bond. when you put interest on that, it's going to cost us an additional $220 million. So when I was on the steering committee, they didn't. I thought I'd have some input on maybe, why are we doing this? Is this going to be the best thing for the kids, or how is this going to affect learning? And they're just, the whole discussion was, how are we going to sell this to the public? How do we word it? How do we fool the public basically into voting for it? So they put together some, check the box off for community events. You had maybe 8 or 10 people show up. Half of those people were related to teachers and board members. And it's just the whole way they're going about it. And I still talk to people to this day that don't even, they think the bond is for a second high school. It's truly amazing.
That's superintendent's discretionary spending when a project fails. It's right there in the language. They can spend it however they want.
Oh yeah, no, that's another thing. What they wrote in, they put a resolution in because they had when they voted all this stuff through. Mr. Daly, being the hero he is, brought up the fact that they had done no environmental studies on any of the sites. They didn't even know if they could build on any of these sites, and of course, Mr. Wilson, the president there of the school board, lied to everybody and said, we've had all the people out there to look at everything, which is a lie. And then they wrote a resolution saying if you can't build that at South Colby, then the board can spend that money however they see fit, period. So,
Like 47 million?
yes, Jessica.
Are they going to be doing construction during school hours? Is this a pass?
According to their plan, is they're going to try and accommodate the kids in one school as they're building behind the school, or it's going to be all at once.
They just built a new track at Marcus, and literally on the other side of Spence, and our house shook so bad. It would be a disaster if they did that, I'm just saying. You wouldn't be able to teach kids anything without construction.
Well, the bond's not going to fail or it's not going to pass anyway, so I think we're going to be all right. Yeah. Any other questions about any of that? I mean, it's just the way they put it all together. It's so phony, and it gives the community, it gives everybody that doesn't know any better the impression that they've checked all the boxes, they've done a really great job, and it's a really poor put together plan. And there's really not a lot of they could have gone a lot further into what's going to impact the kids the most. It's a big want list. They just want new shiny, and I don't think it has anything to do with the learning. Yes, please.
This is going to be a stupid question.
Well, then you probably shouldn't say it, right?
But can you explain to me what the difference between a levy and a bond is? You mentioned a local levy versus bond.
It's a bond is a big long-term, we finance a big bond, and it's drawn out. I think this one's 20 years. Jeff could probably be a little, yeah, it's a great question. And a levy's a shorter term. It's a smaller amount for a shorter term. Yeah, and it's more project focused. I mean, this bond, it's like they got money that they don't even know what they're going to do with. It's nothing's itemized out. With you do more of a levy, capital levy, and it's a shorter deal, and you can conquer one thing at a time, and it's not a big burden on the taxpayers. And
It's like a smaller ask.
yes, it's a smaller ask, more realistic ask. They want everything, they want it now. And no second high school. Those of you that have been, told that for years and years and years, we're just scrapped that idea. Apparently, it wasn't that important. So, anyhow, that's kind of what I know.
Why don't they do that in the past?
It's not a big payout for the union. You have to follow the money. It's all about driving up teacher roles, teacher salaries, union dues.
The bonding company looks to make $10 million off of just financing the bond.
Really?
Yeah, that's right off the top. That's their commission.
Wow. Say that again, Jamie.
The company that gets the bonding, that does the bonding, they get a $10 million commission off of financing the bond.
Isn't Lee Fenton one of the consultants in the bond? Isn't he an architect that came up with a big plan?
Well, Lee Fenton moved to the community like 30 years ago, and he's been involved with this stuff. He worked for a school architecture firm that does schools. Go figure. And SK schools just happen to be kind of older, so not to conspiracy theory, but he might have moved. He might have had his eye on the golden nugget, when he moved here, thinking he was going to rebuild all the schools.
So is that right?
Yes.
He'll take